Alright, seafood Alfredo. Start with a ripping hot pan. About a tablespoon of olive oil, and you can see how that just ran as soon as it hit that heat. That's a ripping hot pan. I had it on high just to heat it up, and now it's on medium. And we're going to start with 1/4 cup each white onion, leeks, finely chopped. Go sweat those down. Okay, when they start to show a little color, we're done with that part. We're going to throw in a tablespoon of butter, let that melt. Keep everything moving because you don't want to get them too brown. And then 3 cloves of crushed garlic. Give it just a minute for that garlic to cook. We're going to hit it with about a 1/4 cup of our shrimp stock. We made that previously. That'll help cool that pan down a little bit. I'm going to switch out to a whisk. Okay, now we're going to add a cup of heavy cream. Straight in there like that. Scrape the sides, get it all. About a teaspoon of salt. And you can check to adjust that salt level. And I'm going to give it some fresh ground black pepper. And now we've switched down to a medium-low heat. We're going to bring this up to a, not quite a simmer. When you see the steam coming off of it like that, we're just about ready. Keep it moving, you don't want to scorch it. Heavy cream can scorch really quickly. When you got good steam coming off of it, you start to see little tiny bubbles. As it comes up to a simmer, we're going to start adding some cheese. We're just going to add a pinch at a time. We're going to add a cup of grated Parmesan. Fresh shredded Parmesan. Just a pinch at a time, stir it, incorporate it. Now as this thickens up, I've got a cup of milk on standby to help me thin it back down. And you can see how it's starting to thicken up. We're just going to go ahead and add the last of the cheese now. Like I said, I've got a cup of milk that I can thin that back down with. As with our grits, if it gets too thick, you can thin it out with some milk. If it gets too thin, you can let the heat thicken it back up. Alright, medium-high heat. A little drizzle of olive oil to keep the butter from popping. 2 tablespoons of butter. And it's so hot it's browning the butter immediately. Okay. Just pick it up the heat, just like I have, and just swirl it around. It'll be all right. All right. Pan's a little cooler now. Got about a 1/4 cup of bay scallops going right in there, and 2 cloves of garlic to start off. This It's another one of those, it's hot, so keep it moving. Now, bay scallops are smaller than sea scallops, obviously, and they're really great for this recipe for the seafood Alfredo. Keep that stuff moving around. Alright, next we've got our used to be frozen shrimp. That goes in. Give it a second. You notice we're moving kind of fast. Keep it hot, keep it moving. It won't take long for these things to get done. Once the shrimp start turning pink, I'm going to give it about a quarter cup calamari rings. Now squid, you really have to cook very quickly and not very long, because squid turns into rubber bands really fast. So you don't want much more than to get it in there and get it hot. Okay. We'll give that just a splash, about a quarter of a cup of white wine. We can cut that heat off. Once your pasta gets to where you think, oh, it needs about 2 more minutes to cook, because it's still got a little chew in it, that's al dente, and you want to throw it right in the pan. Now, that pasta water will help thicken up your sauce, because it's got all the starch from the pasta. Now normally you want to shock this pasta and stop it from cooking, but right now we're good with it finishing up in the pan. And then our sauce can go right on top. Just put it all in there. Give it a stir. And at this point you can give it a little bit more seasoning, salt and pepper if you need. I like a little more black pepper. I cheat. Lastly, you can top this with some fresh cut parsley or some fresh cut chives. I'm going to use the chives, and I'm going to use another little cheat. I just use my kitchen shears to cut off what I need. Stir it through, make it look pretty. Just give it a twirl. I'm not being super fancy, this is just lunch. Make sure to get some of that seafood in there. So there you go, guys, a quick lunch or a quick early dinner. Took about 20-25 minutes all told. There's only 2 things missing. A little bit more cheese and my fork. And P.S. if you thought you made too much sauce, you didn't.